This is Full Count, the show for baseball fans by baseball fans that takes the extra base and delivers a save each and every week. Presented by Dinger Bats and DingerBats.com. Now here are your hosts, the round mound of sound, Keith Gibson, and owner of Dinger Bats, Kyle Drone.
Play ball!
Hello again, baseball fans, and good Saturday morning to you. Keith Gibson alongside me, Kyle Jones. We bring you another edition of Full Count right here at DingerBats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio. And Kyle, we have some big news coming out this week in Major League Baseball. We've got a lot to talk about in a jam-packed show. Do want to let everybody know that Eric Chavez, we were supposed to have on the clubhouse chat today, unfortunately had something come up, so we've had to reschedule him later on the season, but we'll get Chavi on and have some fun with him and talk Moneyball and the state of the game with him later on the season. But, Kyle, a lot of things to talk about today. We got your boy, Albert Pujols. Angels said no more to him. We'll get into that a little bit later. We're going to talk injuries. We've got a whole slew of things to talk about. But first of all, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a good week. Baseball is heating up. And we've got some surprises all over baseball that we're going to get to talk about, too, later on today. So, yeah, it's just a fun time to be a baseball fan.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of surprising stuff with the Pujols thing and, another no-hitter this week. Not quite a perfect game. I did not realize that a wild pitch disqualified that. Did you?
I did not, no. And we'll get into that here a little bit later. But so the question still remains, is it 3 no-hitters this season or is it 4?
I'm going 4. I'm giving him 1. I mean, it was the rules state that as a scheduled 7-inning game, he had a no-hitter through 7. I got to stick with that.
Yep, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of superstar injuries around the league, and there have been some major hits to some major teams, including the Dodgers, the White Sox, who were my pick to win it. They had another injury, and so we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the Royals, A's, and Red Sox leading the AL. Royals and A's. Do you ever think we'd be saying that at this time of the year, Kyle Drone?
No, not at all by any means. I mean, the A's maybe a little bit because they're always that team that grinds it out, and was really hoping to get to talk to Chavi about that, but at a later date, I guess. But the Royals are a surprise.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the Giants leading the NL West. We'll get into that a little bit later and break that down. And then we're going to talk here in our first segment around the horn about Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar now being ineligible, and we'll dig a little deeper into that. But the big news of the week, and we're going to have a whole entire segment dedicated to it, Albert Pujols released by the Angels this week. What's his next move? We'll hear from both of us as we kind of break that down. Then we'll talk about Willie Mays turning 90 as well this week. 90 years old, and where he ranks in the all-time greats. The Rockies named a new GM. We'll get to that. Of course, we'll have our triple play trivia. We'll talk about a little minor league baseball starting back up. I know that excites you, and that excites me both.
Oh, absolutely. Just the more baseball, the merrier.
That's right. That's good for business, right?
Absolutely.
And then we'll close the show with what to watch for. And you'll want to stay tuned because there might be a giveaway at the end of the show. You have a chance to win a Dinger Bat shirt and a hat right here for listening to the show. So we're going to get started, though, with Around the Horn and talk superstar injuries. And Kyle Drone, it has been a week of big stars going on the IL. Maybe the biggest, Luis Robert of the White Sox, the talented center fielder, out 12 to 16 weeks.
Yeah, big hit.
It's a huge hit for them, and I don't know how you replace him.
Yeah, I mean, you had Eloy go down early. Now you have Luis. There's not really replacing him. There's only trying to maintain that position and getting some production out of it until he's back. But, yeah, you can't replace the superstars like that.
Man, that's 2 hits to their outfield that I don't think Tony La Russa was expecting, and I don't think anybody was. But, you look at what the Sox are doing with, like, Billy Hamilton in center field. I mean, that's not Luis Robert.
No, he'll track it down, but he has trouble getting on base a lot of times.
Yeah, and then just a side note, I don't know if you saw what Tony La Russa did the other night in extra innings. Apparently, Tony La Russa doesn't know the extra innings rule that if a pitcher makes the last out, your last position player can take second base because he put his closer, Liam Hendricks, at second to start the 10th.
I did see that.
Oh, Tony, I may take back everything I said about Tony being all right with the young kids.
He's got to make the adjustments.
Yep. But Luis Robert out. Christian Yelich of the Brewers, another superstar, just came off the IL. Now he's back. The Brewers can't seem to keep anybody healthy right now.
No. And
Their injury list is 22 deep right now, Kyle Drone.
Yeah. And they still somehow maintain, being up in the running. So let's see how they maintain and handle all these injuries.
Another injury this week, and throwing him a stint on the IL. Your boy in New York, Jacob Degrom, the guy who gets 0 run support. If they lose Degrom, are they done?
Yeah, I believe so. Even with Degrom, they're not showing me a lot.
No, it's we talked about earlier in the season how the Mets are one of those teams that you want. On paper, they look great.
Absolutely.
But every year they do the same thing, is they just don't play up to potential. And through the first month at least, they're definitely do that. Francisco Lindor, who signed a huge contract, is he hitting over the Mendoza line right now?
I don't think so.
So that's a big hit to the Mets. The Dodgers, who were started out as one of the hottest teams in baseball, now have lost, I think, 13 of 17 or 15 of 18, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Dustin.
3 to the Cubs. I mean,
that's right. The Cubbies swept them, but hey, I'm not getting excited about that. That happened this week, but I'm not getting excited. We're still the Cubs. They haven't shown me any improvement. Dustin May out and he's having Tommy John surgery, so there goes part of that rotation.
Mm-hmm.
David Price is out. He's on the injured list. There goes another part of that rotation. So that Dodgers rotation now, what seemed to be really good in the beginning, Kyle, is not looking as good now.
No, I mean they're definitely still top tier, but they're down those guys. Dustin May, huge upside. He's young. He was going to have a breakout season, so that's a big loss. Price is a grinder, so yeah, definitely a hit, but I think they'll be okay.
Dustin May has what I like to call bozo hair. That thing is like a fro out there. So, but no, a big loss for the Dodgers as well. And then George Springer. Oh, poor George. Signs the biggest free agent contract during the offseason to go up to Toronto. Has an oblique strain, then a quad strain. Finally gets back, gets 18 at-bats in, and now he's back on the IL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're the Blue Jays, how disappointed are you right now, Kyle, and not having that there? Because I think with him, they could be an even better ball club than what they are playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got to have patience. It's out of their control, out of his control. I think he maybe tried to come back and do too much too early. Had a 2-homer game early off the DL, and probably excited to get back in there because they are an exciting young ball club. Got a lot of power, a lot of young guys. So I think they're patient right now. If it continues on, then yeah, the frustrations will be there. But I think George, I think he's probably more frustrated than the team is right now.
Oh, I think without a doubt, he's got to be frustrated. He's a guy that likes to be out there every day and playing, and he hasn't had to deal with this adversity at any point in his career. So you look at that, and he's got to be frustrated more than I'm sure than the Blue Jays are, and I'm sure fantasy baseball owners are pretty frustrated as well with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk a little bit Cardinals bullpen. Jordan Hicks comes back, and Jordan Hicks is a great pitcher when he's healthy.
Yeah.
A very live arm, and can get guys out the back end. You finally get him back, and he goes back down.
Yep.
Ponce de Leon, he's on the IL right now, and so is Andrew Miller.
Yep.
As a Cardinal fan, I should say, the back end of the bullpen's taking a little bit of hit, but you guys are still finding ways to win. How long can the offense really carry you, though?
I mean, the starting pitching's held up. Carlos Martinez finally is stepping up the last couple games. He's actually thrown deep into games, and if they can keep him in it, the offense can produce the runs. But it's all going to rely on the starters for the next few weeks.
I wasn't sure if it was 2016 or 17 because when Carlos Martinez goes 7 innings, it looks like Carlos Martinez of old here of late.
Yeah, no, he's looked really good the last 2 outings for sure. Hopefully he can keep it up. Maybe he's figured something out.
And then another big injury in the National League, Steven Strasburg on the IL. Should be back here soon, but man, that's a guy that he's got a lot of innings on his arms, but a guy who just can't stay healthy. So much hype coming around Strasburg when he first came to the league. The Nationals kept him on a pitch count early in his career. Is this a guy that just will never reach the potential because it was so high?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, yeah, they, he came out throwing 100. They were comparing him to Nolan Ryan. I heard many times, and he's got that talent. He just, and that goes back to Nolan Ryan. I mean, his work ethic off the field to be able to throw as many innings as he did at deep into his career. Was he 45 when he retired?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. And it's crazy how players of today can't stay healthy like players did 20 years ago.
Agreed. And just for you Cub fans, Jake Arrieta on the IL for a cut on his finger, but he'll be back soon. Jake is pitching like Jake of old, though. He's pitched very well this season for the Cubs, so I'm very happy with that. But, hey, one mention I want to talk about before we go to our next topic here. We talked last week about Adam Wainwright going to the IL, the COVID list. Mm-hmm. Well, it came out this week that the reason he took a COVID list because his family had COVID. And Adam Wainwright, and even though I'm a big Cub fan, I'm a big supporter of people who do what he did. He took a stint on the COVID list to be with his family because he said his family is bigger than baseball and more important. And for that, I salute Adam Wainwright. I think that's a great move and shows just what kind of class act he really is.
Absolutely. I mean, family's always first. I mean, you and I both know that. And, that was a class move.
Yep, without a doubt. So kudos to him, but he's back, and Adam Wainwright, I swear, does not age. Him and Molina, I think, are just like 23 every year. All right, let's move on and talk about the Royals, A's, and Red Sox leading their divisions or at the top there. I know that AL Central's kind of clustered with some teams, but the Royals playing hot baseball. Can you name me 4 guys on the Royals right now, Kyle Drone?
Salvador Perez, Whit Merrifield, and Solar, and I'm stuck.
My point. That's my point.
Yeah.
Who are these guys?
No.
They're playing great baseball. They're getting some solid pitching from a young team, and it looks like they're having fun out there. Mm-hmm. And Salvador Perez, he's got to be like 69 or 70, about the same age as my old man, who turned 69 on Thursday. But, the Royals are playing great baseball. It's fun to see when you have teams who don't necessarily, you expect, come out of the gate hot and get some. Do I think this will last? I don't think so. But with the White Sox injuries, Cleveland's down. The Twins aren't playing great baseball. They got a shot.
Yeah, I mean, as good as anybody right now.
The Oakland A's, another team that started out 0-6. We've talked a little bit about them on previous shows, and they've came out and won, 11, 12 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, 13. I think it was 13.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're leading the Division II over the Astros, over the Mariners, out in the Angels. And the Angels were a team you and I thought would be a playoff contender, but, man, you just can never count out the Oakland A's.
Right. No, they're a grinder. They seem to have a chance at every game they're in. So,
and that's all you ask for. That's all you ask your guys for, is to have a chance to win the ball game.
Yep.
Now, did you see the Boston Red Sox at this point in the season leading the American League East with the Yankees and the Blue Jays and
not at all?
No, I didn't either.
I had them at the bottom,
below the Orioles.
Well, close to the bottom.
Okay, there we go. I don't blame you. I probably would have had them down there too, but the Yankees are heating up. So this will be a fun race. All 3 divisions in the American League, I think, will be fun races down to the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be fun. There's a lot of great baseball being played right now in the American League. Let's jump over to the National League. The Central, it's all right there too. Everybody, you said at the very beginning, everybody beats up on everybody, and that's exactly what's happening right now in the NL Central.
Every year in the Central, it seems. Nobody runs away with it.
And in the East, it seems like that's kind of the case this year, too. There's nobody who's just running away with it, which we didn't expect. But, boy, there's not a whole lot of great baseball being played in the NL East either.
No, not from the people you would think, but the Marlins are kind of surprising. They're not consistent, but when they get the bats going, man, they put up some runs.
They do. And the Phillies leading that division right now. My Phils, I
Mm-hmm.
picked them to win the division.
You did.
Yeah, the Mets, I think in fourth, or they even dead last. I don't know. But the Nats are right there, and the Braves. The Braves are a little surprising to me that they haven't played as well as they should. I think offensively they have, but they haven't got much pitching.
Right. No, they're underperforming right now, but I think they'll pick it up. They've got a great pitching staff.
They do, and they just got Freed back this week, so that'll help out big time.
Yeah, speaking of Freed, I don't know if it was Freed or who relieved him. I'd never heard it referred to as an immaculate inning, where you throw 9 pitches and strike out the side. Have you heard that term before?
I have actually, and I've never seen it happen. I think maybe once, maybe, I don't know. Didn't Pedro do it once?
Pedro might have did it in the '98 All-Star game.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. Sosa, Maguire, and I don't remember who the other one was, but yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too. But yeah, I have heard of that, but that's a tough feat to accomplish right there.
It really is if you think about it. Like I said, I've never heard the term. I've caught a couple like in high school and college, but never really even thought about it that way. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And finally, before we wrap up and take a break here on Full Count, Roberto Alomar was suspended indefinitely by Major League Baseball recently and put on the ineligible list for accusations against him. As a player, Kyle, Roberto Alomar was one of my favorite guys and kind of solidified what a second baseman kind of has turned into in this new generation. Is that something, when do you cross the line of something that happens off the field to become ineligible after you're not even playing?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. I mean, is it based on just accusations, or was he found guilty of anything? I mean, if they're jumping the gun on just accusations, then I think they're overstepping a bit. There is a moral code in life, and baseball always tries to keep that going, in the sport as well. So it's a tough question.
Well, there was an investigation. Yeah, there was an investigation by Major League Baseball, and this is a quote from Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. He said, "At my office request, an independent investigation was conducted by an external legal firm to review an allegation of sexual misconduct reported by a baseball industry employee earlier this year involving Mr. Alomar in 2014. Having reviewed all the available evidence from the now completed investigation, I have concluded that Mr. Alomar violated MLB's policies and that termination of his consulting contract and placement on MLB's ineligible list are warranted." So they did their own private investigation and took that, and then so he's not been charged with anything, and that's kind of my question: is if he's not charged with anything, how do we know if he did something wrong? But to put him on an eligible list, I could see maybe terminating his contract. I would have no problem with that if you found something that violated MLB policies. But put him on an eligible list, man, you're just blackballing the guy out of baseball.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, it's the Major League Hall of Fame, so those policies, I guess, you have to uphold that strict conduct. Even after. I get it, but I understand your questions on it too. So I'm kind of undecided right now.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at. And Alomar came out and made the comment. He said, I'm disappointed, surprised, and upset with today's news with the current social media climate. I understand why Major League Baseball is taking the position they have. My hope is that this allegation can be heard in a venue that will allow me to address the accusation directly. And he said, I won't have any other comments at this time. So it's something I'm sure it's not over with. We're going to hear more about, but it's definitely baseball news that we want to touch on. So, but Alomar now on the list of ineligibility for Major League Baseball. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and we're going to dive in to Albert Pujols. Where does he go from here? You're listening to Full Count at dingerbats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio.
Kester Homes is your full-service real estate team. They work all of Champaign County and a full 60-mile radius around. What really sets Kyle, Tiffany, and their team apart is they work with home buyers, home sellers, and build new construction homes. So they really are seeing all angles of the real estate industry, from existing homes, investment properties, and new construction. Contact Kester Homes at 217-390-5953 or visit online at kesterhomes.com. That's KOESTER homes.com. Kester Homes is a licensed real estate broker with the Keller Williams, the Real Estate Center of Illinois. Full counts on this date in baseball history. On May 8, 1929, Carl Hubbell of the New York Giants pitched a no-hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates, the first by a left-hander in the majors in 13 seasons. On this date in 1966, the St. Louis Cardinals closed Old Busch Stadium with a 10-5 loss to the San Francisco Giants. On May 8, 1968, Jim Catfish Hunter of the Oakland A's pitched a perfect game to beat the Minnesota Twins 4-0. And in 1984, Minnesota's Kirby Puckett had 4 singles in his first Major League game as the Twins beat the California Angels 5-0. In 1994, the Colorado Silver Bullets, the first women's team to play a pro men's team, lost 19-0 to the Northern League All-Stars. Northern League All-Star Leon Durham hit 2 homers, and Oil Can Boyd started for the team. The Silver Bullets had 2 hits, struck out 16 times, and made 6 errors. And on this date in 1998, Cardinals slugger Mark Maguire connects for his 400th career home run in the 3rd inning at Shea Stadium. Maguire, who has homered every 11.82 at-bats in his career, reaches the milestone in his 4,726th at-bat, beating Babe Ruth to that plateau by 128 at-bats. Maguire is the 26th Major League player to hit 400 home runs. And finally, on this date in 2001, Randy Johnson became only the 3rd pitcher to strike out 20 batters in 9 innings, but didn't finish the game as Arizona went on to beat Cincinnati 4-3 in 11 innings. The big unit, the first left-hander to fan 20, missed out on the chance to join Roger Clemens and Kerry Wood as the record holders for a 9-inning game because Arizona could not finish off the Reds in regulation. That's your On This Date in baseball history.
Back here on Full Count at dingerbats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio. Keith Gibson alongside me, Kyle Jerome. And let's talk Albert Pujols, a man who has defied what it is to be a hitter, a man who's defied his love for St. Louis. He loved it, left. But I have a good feeling as a Cardinal fan, Kyle Jerome, you may welcome him back with open arms after he was released from the Angels this week. Am I right?
I don't know where we'd put him, but yeah, he's Hello?
I'm here. Are you there?
Hello?
Hello, are you there?
Oh, I got you now.
Okay.
Shit, man, you were breaking up. You got a good connection?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm full connected.
All
right, let's try this again.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
Okay, sorry.
You're good. Hey, that's what we're here for. All right. In 5, 4, 3. Back here on Full Count at dingerbats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio. Keith Gibson alongside me, Kyle Jerome, a man who's probably very, very happy right now because we're going to talk Albert Pujols, the man who the Angels let go of this week. DFA, designated for assignment, and I'm sure Kyle's sitting there with his arms open wide, just like most Cardinal fans are, saying, come back to the Lou. Am I right, Kyle Jerome?
Oh, yeah, man. We'd love to have him come back and retire as a Cardinal and go into the Hall of Fame as a Cardinal, which I don't think there was any doubt that was going to happen anyway, but completely surprised by this move by the Angels.
Without a doubt, I don't think either of us saw it coming. I don't think anybody saw the move coming on Thursday when news broke late in the afternoon. I know you texted me and said, Angels releasing Pujols, and I thought, you like to rib me every once in a while, get me going. And so I thought, all right, I got to check this out, because there is no way in the last year of his contract that they're going to do this to a veteran like Albert. By goodness, they did.
Yeah, it was kind of out of left field, and still kind of head spinning about it. But I guess there was a little potential confrontation there that you were telling me about.
Yeah, I guess on Wednesday night, Albert thought he should have been in the lineup against the Rays and wasn't. And so I don't know if that's what spurred this on or what, but Albert Pujols now DFA, designated for assignment by the Angels on Thursday. So they have 7 days to either trade him or release him. And Kyle, I don't see anybody picking up that contract. The Angels are going to have to eat a lot of that money, because he's still owed, what, 25, 30 million, somewhere around there here this season. So they're going to have to eat that money if they want to make a trade.
Yeah, and I don't know immediately where he can help, for somebody to give up anything significant for him, even if they do cover the contract. So we'll see what happens, I guess. I'm still, like I said, I'm still kind of taken aback by the whole situation.
41 years old, as they say. Albert Pujols is only hitting a .198 this year. He's only drawn 2 unintentional walks and 92 trips to the plate. It's not Albert. You know that as well as I do. And over the past 255 plate appearances, he's only hitting .214. That's not the Albert we know, and that's not the Albert you remember either. But he's also 41 years old. So you're right. No one's going to pick up that contract. He's going to go to free agent. So the big question is then, where does he land? Because he's not done playing baseball. He even said that himself. He's not done.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the Cardinals can pick him up right now. I don't know how that would work. Maybe they pick him up at the end of the year, let him finish out. I really have no idea.
Well, I thought about this a little bit over the past couple days, and there's a couple spots that I thought would work, and St. Louis is not one of them. So sorry, Cardinal fans, but there's just I've tried. I would love to see Albert back in St. Louis. I would, just for nostalgia, because I don't worry about him being an offensive threat anymore. But just for nostalgia, and to be able for him to retire, go out in a blaze of glory in St. Louis. But there's just nowhere you're going to take up a bench spot, and you've already got Matt Carpenter, folks. So you're all right. You've already got a guy who's hitting under 200.
Ouch.
Sorry. Yeah.
Ouch.
So the 2 places I thought of, number 1, the White Sox. They need somebody who can thump, who can DH. They don't have Eloy. They don't have Luis Robert. Maybe Albert can come in there, play for Tony La Russa, and find a little magic and, hit 20 homers and drive in 65, 70 for the rest of the year and right off of the sunset, The only other spot I thought of, which I'm not sure it fits either, would be either in Baltimore, because Chris Davis is out indefinitely, if he still wants to play, or somewhere like, I don't know, Cleveland. But that just doesn't seem like a fit to me. Do you?
No, I think he only looks good in red, so it's Cardinals or Angels. I mean, and the Angels are obviously out, so.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's nothing there left to do that. But, it's a shame that this contract didn't pan out. But as we talked before we went on air, there's a reason the Cardinals did not sign him, though, when the Angels did. Do you think the Cardinals knew something at that time? There's always been speculation, but at that time that, his health was declining, because at that time he's had a foot injury, his back, his knee. What else has there been?
Well, I mean, the Cardinals have always been the last people to do the long-term contracts anyway. So to do that for somebody at their age 31 season, I think figured into it. I mean, obviously they have all the medical records for the time, prior to that, and maybe they saw something, maybe they didn't. But I mean, that's a big investment for 10 years, in your declining years, regardless of just Pujols, but most players are declining after age 34, 35. So, that's just the way the Cardinals have always done it. So I don't know if it was 100% on the health. I don't think they would do it for anybody, honestly.
Well, that's why I'm always leery of contracts like Fernando Tatis, Bryce Harper, these guys who are signing 10-plus year contracts, because you don't know what tomorrow brings, let alone 7 years from now. And that's a big risk these clubs are taking by signing these longer contracts, because, especially with the big money, because you don't know what you're going to get out of them when that time comes. But Albert, one of the game's greatest players, one of the greatest hitters of all time. But it's not only what he did on the field, it's also what he does off the field. And you want to talk about a guy who's a humanitarian. He and his wife, Degrom, they're so generous with countless charities, not just in St. Louis and Anaheim, but all over the world, and the Pujols Family Foundation. And they do so much to give back to kids. And it's just, I have more respect for him for that than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Great human being. And a great ball player. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to imagine a way he could come back to the Cardinals and finish it out there, but right now I can't see how, unless it's towards the end of the year, like I said.
So my question for you is Albert Pujols a first ballot Hall of Famer?
In my mind, yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're a Cardinal fan, so that doesn't count. I don't know why I asked you.
No, I mean, look at his.
Yeah, right. He's got 3,000 hits. 600 homers. He wants to play. He wants that 700. He does. But he's got over 600 homers, over 3,000 hits. I'm not sure. I have to look it up here, how many RBIs he has. But he has been a machine, and that's, what they call him, the machine. So, yeah, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, too. You'd have to be silly not to. And a guy who...
Yeah, I would agree.
A guy who just has fun playing the game, too. Now, you did say that you were there when he came back to St. Louis last year, right?
Yeah, I was. I went to that first game of the Angels interleague play, and got to see that was Trout's first time there as well. But it was the bigger story was Pujols' homecoming, and he got a tremendous ovation, and it was really cool to see.
Well, I'm going to call this right now. Somewhere or another, he ends up in St. Louis before this season's done. Agreed?
I think you're right. I just can't. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right, and I hope you're right. I just can't see it. But, those are the inner workings of, the front office that, obviously we have no idea
right,
what to think about.
Well, only time will tell, my friend. Only time will tell. Speaking of time, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about one of the greatest players ever to play this game. And I'm not talking about Keith Gibson. I'm talking Willie Mays. So we'll be right back here on Full Count in just a moment.
Today's episode of Full Count is brought to you by Ford of Tuscola.
Check out the all-new Ford of Tuscola. It's a small-town feel with great big deals. Pre-owned vehicles starting at $24.95. Online at FordofTuscola.com or call 217-253-3353.
It's now time for Full Count Triple Play Trivia. Today's Triple Play Trivia question is, which pitcher gave up the most home runs to Willie Mays? Once again, today's Triple Play Trivia question is, which pitcher gave up the most home runs to Willie Mays? Stay tuned to Full Count for the answer later in the show.
Back here on Full Count, as we just finished up talking about one of the greatest hitters ever to play the game in the machine, Albert Pujols. We move on to talk about one of the greatest players ever to play the game, period. On many people's Mount Rushmore, and probably on mine as well, and probably on yours as I would guess Kyle Drone. And he celebrated a 90th birthday on Thursday, and that's no other than the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays.
Yeah, man, he was great. It's fun to watch old tape of him, and digging into his stats kind of amazed me how good he really was.
Willie put up some. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's a great point. Digging into his stats and then starting to compare, because I know you like to do that, and I do too. Comparing against players of his generation and especially players of this generation, there's a huge gap between the numbers that he put up and the numbers you're seeing in today's game.
Yeah, by far. I mean, the complete package, 5-tool player. You know, he was impactful and led the league not all at once in every category, but at certain periods of his career, led the league in home runs, batting average, stolen bases, RBIs, all those things. Just an amazing player.
Not even that, he led the league a few times in triples. Willie Mays led in the beginning of his career, had 20 triples in one season. That was in 1957. How crazy is that? 20 triples. You don't even see a guy get 5 now in today's game.
Yeah, and I think he's the only player to ever have 20 homers, 20 triples, 20 doubles, 20 stolen bases in the same season.
That was 1957. That's correct. Yeah, he had 26 doubles, 20 triples. He had 35 homers, and 38 stolen bases. Yeah, how correct that's something you may never see.
Yeah, I don't think possible.
Of course, later on in his career, he played a couple years with the Mets too. But the numbers, Kyle, he had almost 11,000 at bats in 22 seasons.
Yeah.
Over 3,000 hits, 660 homers, 1,900 RBIs, scored 2,000 runs, and still, ladies and gentlemen, managed to hit .302, hit over 300. It's crazy to me what kind of numbers he put up.
Yeah, and that's missing one season being enlisted in the Army.
That's right. So who knows where he could have been, what kind of numbers he could have put up with an extra season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, you're big. We talked, I think, last week a little bit about WAR, and he has a 156.1 WAR, which is wins above replacement for his career. That's really high. I think there's only maybe a couple guys ahead of him. Is that right?
Yeah, Babe Ruth. He's behind only Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds, your guy. And, you know, he is only, 6.6 behind Ruth to lead. And he averaged, after coming back from the war to round out his career, 7 WAR. So he could have, had he played that season, been the all-time WAR leader.
Right, which is crazy. But, you know, as I said, 24-time All-Star, 12-time Gold Glover, 2-time MVP, Rookie of the Year. He's had a batting title, a 20-20-20-20 guy. There's a reason that he's on the Mount Rushmore of baseball players, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, it's exciting to always look back on the career of Willie Mays, and you're right. My guy, Barry Lamar Bonds, is the only guy that in this generation, our generation, that we've been able to watch. Even though listeners and fans will say, well, he was juicing and all this, you you still got to hit a baseball coming at you 90+ miles an hour. And what's the diameter of a bat, Kyle Drone? You're a bat aficionado.
2.6 inches, which is a little over 2.5 inches, is about the max now.
Right. So you're talking 2.5 inches. And some of you, some places and some people will say that's 8 inches, but that's a different story. But 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches, and you still got to hit a baseball, and you do it as well as you do. No matter what you say about Barry Bonds, he's had great hand-eye coordination. But he's the only guy I was able to find that came close to putting up numbers that Willie Mays did. Now, that is his godfather. I'm sure Willie taught him a lot of stuff. But in today's game, Kyle, who's the one or maybe two guys that you could say we're pretty close to, maybe when all is said and done, can have numbers like this?
Well, I mean, Mike Trout.
I knew that was coming.
I knew it. First. I'm a big fan there. Huh?
I knew that was coming. I knew it.
But there's a ton of guys that got the build to do it. I mean, Acuna comes to mind. His physical abilities are amazing. I used to think that Bryce Harper could do something like that, but he's kind of faded out of that in my mind. But yeah, not too many.
You talk about 24-time All-Star Willie Mays was, and the fact that if you look at Fernando Tatis Jr., he would have to play till he's 46 to accomplish that and be an All-Star almost every year.
Yeah.
Think about that, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
and during that span, I think he only had 1 year where he had less than 300 at bats. I mean, it's what they played through, injuries, little injuries that'll put you on the 10-day now. These guys powered through and performed at a high level. So yeah, it's going to be well, no, I'll go ahead and say it's not going to be matched ever.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, you're right. 1952, he had 144 at bats and only played in 34 games, and then went in the service and did not play in 53. And that's the only time he did not have 300 at bats in his career. Crazy. That is absolutely just crazy, and he still put up the numbers. So, happy birthday to the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. And I'm just going to ask you, okay, is he on your Mount Rushmore?
I mean, yeah, I have to put him there. It's tough though. I mean, there's so many greats, but in that span of time, he's absolutely there.
If Griffey stayed healthy, would he have been right there with Willie?
I don't know if he'd have been right there with Willie, but he would have. I mean, he was first ballot Hall of Famer anyway. Tremendous, dealing with the injuries he had. I mean, it's very possible. I mean, he was on pace to be the one to break Babe Ruth's record. And we all thought he was the closest thing to that. So, I don't know if he'd have been there, but he definitely would have been in the conversation a lot more than he is now. I mean, hell, he's in it now, and he did have all those injury-plagued years.
You're exactly right. Yeah, Willie debuted in 1951 at the age of 20 years and 19 days. So Fernando Tatis Jr. and these young guys who are debuting at such a young age, and Juan Soto, they're going to have to stay healthy. They're going to have to play every day and get as many bats as they can. But I don't know if I'm just going to put this out. I don't think we'll ever see numbers like we do with Willie Mays ever again. Too many guys want a day off for a thumbnail.
Trout right now is do what?
Too many guys want a day off with a thumbnail.
But well, those hurt, man. Have you ever smashed your thumb? Come on.
No, I don't have long enough fingers.
Well, all right. Well, for those that have experienced that, you don't know what it's like. So,
all right. Well, that's Willie. Happy birthday to the Say Hey Kid. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we will talk Rockies GM. They hired a new one. We'll talk minor league baseball back and what that means to fans everywhere around the country. You're listening to Full Count at DingerBats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio.
Today's episode of Full Count is brought to you by Bees Trees.
Bees Trees, your local ISA certified arborist with over 10 years experience, specializing in tree removal, tree trimming, and with free estimates. Call Greg Miller of Bees Trees today at 217-260-4551.
It's now time for today's Full Count Triple Play Trivia answer. Today's Triple Play Trivia question was, which pitcher gave up the most home runs to Willie Mays? The answer? Hall of Famer Warren Spahn. Spahn allowed 18 home runs during Willie Mays' career. That's today's Triple Play Trivia question and answer of the week.
Keith Gibson, Kyle Drone bringing another titillating episode of Full Count right here at DingerBats.com and on 103.5 ESPN. We're bringing you all the hottest news, including Albert Pujols about to become a free agent. And it'll be surprising me if someone trades for him. But Kyle, we've talked a lot of things, injuries, Royals hot start, Albert, Willie. Now let's talk about the Yankees. And nobody likes the Yankees, but apparently the Yankees fans don't like the Astros.
Yeah, they got a warm welcome there in New York.
I don't know if that warm is quite the right word to use it.
Hey, for New York, it is.
Well, that's true. That's true. At least they were, but I still don't get it. I mean, can't we move on?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, it's, back to what you were saying about Bonds. I mean, you still got to hit a 90+ mile an hour fastball. I mean, you still, defend that against what the Astros did?
Nope, sure don't. He didn't know what was coming. He was just helping himself out. That's all he was doing. But no,
that's true. Okay, I was making sure because I always grew up. I was all about if you're in the dugout and someone's tipping their pitches, things like that, that's fair game. But the Astros took it to a whole nother level, and the Yankees are still upset about it. So I don't blame them. Had it happened to the Cardinals, I wouldn't be too happy myself.
Well, I don't either, and you're exactly right. Being the baseball guys we are, if you're picking up on maybe a sign or something like that, that's you're gonna tell your guys about it. But using electronic devices or trash cans or whatever you're going to use to help that's going to a whole nother level, as you said, and I'm not agreeing with that whatsoever.
Well, even the trash can aspect of it, I don't mind that part of relaying that to the hitter. But the electronic devices and people up there, maybe using video to read signs, things like that, I think that's way over the line.
Agreed. And it's sad, but they got everything they deserved this week in New York with the foul language and the booze, and so the Astros are, they got lucky last year. Let's face it, they got lucky. There was no fans in the stands. They didn't have to deal with it at all.
They did.
And now they're having to deal with it.
Kudos to the Yankees. Kudos to the Yankees to not go headhunting or anything like that, because I don't think that has a place in the game anymore. But the fans got it out of their system, hopefully, and they got it, and they beat up on them a little bit. So there you go.
Yeah, Giancarlo Stanton's hit some balls I don't think has landed yet.
Yeah, he was very impressive over that series.
Yes, he was. Speaking of, you said headhunting, and I saw a stat this week that there has been more hit by pitch in Major League Baseball this last two seasons than any last two seasons coming, like over the 162 game span, including last season and the season before, than ever before. Could that be attributed to teams calling up guys who may not be quite ready?
I mean, that could be part of it. My thought process on it is that guys are going back to the old school and trying to take back the inside part of the plate. And they're not used to doing that. So more pitches are going to get away from them, because a lot of these pitches that I've seen around the head and stuff or hit batters are curveballs that got away from them, or they're trying to drop a backdoor slider in there and it just doesn't get there. So I think, some young guys that may not be seasoned, but I think some of the veterans just aren't used to controlling that side of the plate, because it's always been, the outside corner, bust one in to show it. But now with the new strike zones they're calling, you can get that call on the inside. So I think they're trying to get to that more.
I agree with you a little bit. I also think part of it is guys are crowding the plate more because they know that they're going to work the outside corner. So I think you're seeing guys standing closer to the plate. Look at a guy like Anthony Rizzo. I mean, he is literally on top of the plate in any at bat, and that's why he gets hit so much.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of guys do that, to crowd the plate to make them throw outside so they can get extended. I think it's a little combination of both, but it was just a stat that I saw that really surprised me, that there's been that many hit guys here recently, and it's just something I thought of, especially after Bryce Harper got hit a couple weeks ago. But he handled that with
that was scary.
class as well. So, hey, good.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I would agree with you. It's a lot of those factors all in one. but we'll see how it plays out throughout the season.
Good news for you, good news for me, good news for everybody all over the country. Major League Baseball is back, of course. It started back, and we're a month in. But minor league baseball and some of the greatest games you'll ever see is back, and some of the greatest adventures, if you will, because minor league baseball is a whole different animal, Kyle Drone, than Major League Baseball. Agreed?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's everybody's trying to get to the show.
Yep, and there's a lot of fun things at a lot of different ballparks all over the country. I know the Indianapolis Indians. I've been to a couple games there. You'll have the Pioneer League starting up here in Central Illinois and Danville and Bloomington, and I think Terre Haute, the Rex down there, are part of it. And the minors should be starting up soon. So You're going to have a plethora. I love using that word, a plethora of choices this summer to watch baseball. But for you, as a guy who does bats, how big is it for you to have minor league baseball back when there was none last year?
Oh, I mean, it's huge. I mean, that's a big portion of our business this time of the year. And, we're getting a lot of our teams back. We lost some teams with the cutting of the affiliates, but we're picking up a lot more of the independent leagues that are now, they're not affiliates, but they're partnered with Major League Baseball. So we're still getting those same players. And we hope to get more here in the next few weeks.
Here a little bit. I love Pioneer League Baseball. I do here. If you're in Central or Southern Illinois, or got a chance to watch some of it, these are college kids using wooden bats and going out and playing the game all summer long. Of course, Danville Dan's a part of the Pioneer League up here in Central Illinois as well, where it's my favorite day of the week is Tuesday because it's $2 beers and $2 hot dogs, and you can't go wrong with that. But I know the minors draw a great crowd too, and with no baseball last year, they were talking that ticket sales are up everywhere because everyone can get back in. And the minors put on a great show down there too.
Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful ballpark, always high-quality baseball. Mike Pinto, great manager, storied career, and they're gonna put up another competitive year this year. So I'm excited to get out and watch a few games.
Have you been to many minor league games outside of have you been up to South Bend, or have you been? Where's one of your favorite minor league ballparks? I should say.
Oh man, I've been to a ton. I like. Memphis is always nice. Of course, it's Cardinals affiliate, and it's like a miniature Busch Stadium.
It is. It is. It's pretty neat though when you're downtown Memphis, especially just off of Beale Street.
Yeah, I love those stadiums that are right in the middle of the city where you've got the backdrop and everything. I've been up to Peoria. That's a fun ballpark. They always draw a good crowd.
That's another Cardinal affiliate.
Louisville. I mean, I couldn't pick. Well, I mean, that's where I gravitate towards. But Nashville's got a great ballpark down there. I mean, it's and of course, I worked for the Jackson Generals, which used to be the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks. So I've seen at least 3 full seasons of games there. But that was one of the ones that got cut. So.
Well, I love going over to Indy. That's one of my favorite ones. I've been to.
Yep, been there.
4 wins up in South Bend area. It was a Royals affiliate when I was up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot has changed in minor league baseball, but happy to have it back and happy to see. Now we don't have to talk about alternate sites. Now when you option a guy, they're going to go to AAA. So we're going to come back, take a quick break, then come back and talk about what to watch for in the week ahead. And if you've listened to us all morning long and listened to the podcast, win a full count t-shirt. Stay with us. Back after these messages right here on Full Count.
Today's episode of Full Count is brought to you by Morgan's Place.
Morgan's Place Canine Salon has been offering exclusive one-on-one grooming services in the Champaign area for over 12 years, using all natural products, giving lots of love to your dog. Visit www.morgansplace.me to learn more. Morgan's Place, making dogs beautiful.
Making the call, the pen, and wrapping up the show here on Full Count. We're going to give you what to watch for this week in Major League Baseball. Keith Gibson, Kyle Drone with you. Thanks for joining us here at dingerbats.com and on your favorite mobile device where you've downloaded our podcast, or if you're listening on 103.5 ESPN Radio, we appreciate you. Make sure you tell all your friends about the show, because you'll get a chance to win a hat and T-shirt just by joining the Facebook group Full Count, the show. Make sure you go and join and put on there that you listen to the show, and then we'll pick one random winner and get you a T-shirt and a hat for Full Count. Well, it's that simple, Kyle Drone. That simple.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to just join the Facebook group Full Count the show and tell us you heard it right here on the show. All right, what to watch for this week? Cubs and Indians, first time in Cleveland since the 16 World Series, Kyle. Both teams not like they were in 16. Little different, but should be a fun series to watch. And then Cards and Brewers this week, too. Both teams fighting out for the top in the NL Central. A sweep by either team could mean early season trouble, if you will. So you like the Brewers in that one, I take it?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
If the Brewers have any more injuries, they're not going to have anybody to put on the field.
Right. Well, that's what I'm not hoping for that, but if it happens.
Well, I doubt that happens. It's we always got AAA. But hey, no, that's a couple things to watch for this week. Of course, we're Midwest guys. That's why we like that here in the NL Central on Full Count. But hey, want to give a shout out to my mother. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, and happy Mother's Day to you as well. My wife, Lori. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Yeah, absolutely. To all the moms out there, my mom, my wife, my mother-in-law. Hope you all have a great day, and thanks for listening.
All right, for my co-host Kyle Drone, I am Keith Gibson. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We couldn't do this without you. We'll see you next week right here on Full Count at dingerbats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio.